All right, all right. Welcome to the Life and Help Show. Welcome to the Life and Help Show by the Otengs. Today we are ready to roll. We got a great topic to talk about, and that is on hypertension. So, if I am Dr. Oteng, and my co-host is
Dr. Gifty Oteng.
Oh, come on, man. We are here to share. Yes. Ready to roll. And without wasting time, we want to start off by saying thank you for joining us. If you are joining us for the first time, make sure that you stay because we have a powerful, I should say, a very nice show for you. And we're going to roll together with a lot of information, health information to help you with your health, especially when it comes to your cardiovascular health.
What I'll recommend is just have a seat and take this ride with us. You will learn a lot.
You will learn a lot. You will learn. Grab a seat. You will learn a lot because we are ready to roll. We want to enjoy ourselves together. All right. So, in the interest of time, for those of you who are watching on Facebook and YouTube, you're seeing a slide that shows again our topic. That's saying hypertension, the silent threat, the silent threat. And before we proceed, we want you to make sure that you hit the comment if you have any questions, if you have any comment, whatever it is that you want to share with us. Don't forget to ensure that we see it because we want to see your comments and your questions as we move forward. So the areas we're going to touch on are first, we're going to talk about how common or how prevalent hypertension is, or high blood pressure, how common or high prevalent it is. And then the next one we're going to talk about after that is what is hypertension? What is high blood pressure in the first place? We're talking about it as if everybody knows what it is, but we want to make sure that at least when it comes to medicine or health, what do we mean by hypertension? So we're going to spend a short few minutes discussing what it is so that you would know whether or not hypertension is something serious.
And we will continue with what are the causes of high blood pressure?
What are the causes of high blood pressure? That's the other thing.
And what make a silent killer?
And what makes it a silent killer? My goodness. Why is hypertension a big deal? What makes it a silent killer? And then after that, as a matter of fact, we are going to talk while we go through those pieces of topics that we are saying. We may touch on the real life stories, some of the examples of things that people have gone through who had hypertension that we know. We'll bring them up for discussion. And then some of the diseases that are linked to hypertension, those will also be touched on. And then from there,
we will encourage you to bring your comments. If you have anything to add on, we encourage you to contribute because we are all learning together. Then we will talk about what we will do next week.
And we will talk about what we do next week. Come on, man. All right, I'm ready. I'm packed up and I'm ready to roll. And I'm pretty sure you are. So grab a seat, as she said, and let's roll together. So our first thing then is, we got something to ask of you. Well, we already told you to comment, share, like, and all that good stuff. And for Gifty, what do you want to tell them?
You want to give us stars? Because we are trying to be stars.
Oh, come on, man. We are close to being stars. But unless you give us stars, we will remain on it. We want to get stars, all right? So those watching on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, wherever it is, if it is a thumbs up, stars, and whatever, just click it so that we get some. And by doing that, you're just helping us to spread the word. And the word is good for some people. You may not have hypertension, but what if some uncle does? They may see it because of your stars. All right, so with that being said, let's move forward. And so the first item, as we said, is how prevalent or how common is hypertension. And this is literally numbers here, so we may have to look on our sheets just to be accurate. But I will start off with it. So globally, hypertension is a huge phenomenon. The WHO estimates about approximately 1.3 billion people in the world who are hypertensive or who have high blood pressure. And this is across the globe, worldwide. No matter where you live, no matter where you're watching us from, there's somebody near you. If you don't have hypertension, somebody near you may have hypertension. Come on, man. That is huge. And that is why it's an important topic to discuss. So that is a global phenomenon. And Have been
And
interacted that.
if we come to where we are, United States, it states that half of the population, which is about 11.6 million, are hypertensive.
We mean 160 million.
Oh,
16
116
million.
million,
Yes.
okay, of people have high blood pressure. So that's a huge number,
It's a
half of the
huge
population.
half of the population. Half of the population of the United States. That is, I mean, over 300 million people, half of the US population have hypertension. That is huge. That is huge. But the scary thing is, apart from that, the Centers for Disease Control also give some other numbers. They say that 1 in 4 adults, only actually, is what it says. Only 1 in 4 adults, that's about 24%, with hypertension have their condition under control. So if you pick or choose 4 people who are hypertensive, only 1 person has their disease under control, and that is what is up in the U.S. And I'm talking about U.S. Remember, U.S. is one of the top-notch places to have healthcare, right? If you compare to other countries in the world, of course, other places in Europe may do better because they have mass coverage of people and in terms of access to health. But when it comes to healthcare delivery, we know we are somewhere, and to have 1 in 4 be the only ones whose hypertension are controlled is a sad case. Oh, come on, man! This is where my son will push that bell. That is sad. That is the sad news. All right, but that's what it is. And even in the world, the World Health Organization also say that the WHO reports that fewer than 1 in 5 people with hypertension have their disease controlled worldwide too. So apart from the United States, if you take the entire world, only less than 1 in 5 have their blood pressure under control. So that is how widespread, but how many people have hypertension, which is not controlled.
And with the one that is controlled, I think they are the one that have been diagnosed and they are aware that they have high blood pressure. The scary thing is most people are just walking around without even realizing that they have high blood pressure.
So, with that being said, we'll move forward. So that is how bad the situation is. But we aren't going to end there. We're just going to make sure that at least we want you to know how grim the situation is. So, and the key thing that she brought up that I want to emphasize here is you may be watching. Do you know you are hypertensive? Are you sure that you don't have hypertension or high blood pressure already? You probably do if you are not diagnosed, if you've not seen your doctor recently. For all you know, you are part of the statistic walking around and not knowing that you are hypertensive. But hopefully, after this, you will seek help and make sure you are diagnosed if you are and be treated, because you will know after the end of the show that it's not something to play with. Hypertension. We're talking about hypertension, high blood pressure. What it is at all? What is hypertension? And you want me to start?
Yes, so even the word gives it out a little bit, right? Hypertension means that high tension. So the hypertension is just high blood pressure, the pressure in your system. So when the blood is pumped from the heart into the arteries, the force at which this pressure moved through your arteries, if it's too high, consistently high, then it's likely that you have high blood pressure.
My
Right.
goodness. Oh, you landed?
Yes.
Okay. So the force at which your blood hits the arterial walls, if it is high, then most likely you have high blood pressure. And also, it also is going to be something from your heart. If your heart is trying to pump against a volume or tension of water, of blood that is resisted. The heart's job is to move blood around the whole body, supply nutrients through the blood to all the cells of your body. So if it comes to a point where your heart is supplying this pressure, but it is coming under resistance, there is resistance to the pressure that the heart is beating to send blood around, then of course you are becoming hypertensive, or you have become hypertensive. And apart from just saying those things, there are categories, there are numbers that we can use to check and say that you have hypertension, you don't have hypertension. Because how would you tell that somebody's pressure is high if you have nothing to measure. That is what we all know, that measure your blood pressure, what's your blood pressure, and we basically compare it against a normal number and say whether or not you have high blood pressure. And so, with that being said, we will discuss that. I would say the top number, if you ever are conversant with measuring blood pressure, the top number is what we call the systolic number, and then the lower number is what we call the diastolic number. And so, with that being said, any number over 130 systolic, or if the number on the top of your measurement is over 130 millimeter mercury, then you are becoming hypertensive, or I should say you are hypertensive. The numbers, the guidelines have changed a little bit. It may be stricter, it may be relaxed depending on where you are watching us from. It may be less depending on where you are watching us from. Or if you have certain diseases, or if you're already diagnosed with hypertension, your goal may be a little higher. For example, somebody who is already hypertensive may be told by their doctor that, hey, bring it down to 140 and you'll be all right. It doesn't mean that the fact that yours is 140 is the best. It's because you were higher and your goal now is to come to 140. So we're just giving you a goal that is attainable so that you remain healthy. But for the person who has not been diagnosed, then if you have something or systolic or the top number over 130, then you got to start watching out because it is not the best. And then, of course, if the number on the bottom, which is the diastolic number, is over 80, then also your blood pressure is considered high.
Okay. So with the top number, we are able to measure that one when the heart pumps, right? So the pressure at which the heart pumps is the top number, and the pressure at which the heart relaxes is the bottom number. So you realize that always the top number is always high and the bottom number is low. So for somebody with normal blood pressure, it's supposed to be 120 over 80. But we are saying that now the new direction is if it's higher than 130 over 80, then the doctor may diagnose you with high blood pressure. So we have to get a difference. If in case you have the monitor or you come across a monitor, you take your blood pressure and you're around 120/80, it means that no, it's normal. And one thing that we also have to notice is your blood pressure may vary throughout the day. So you cannot just conclude with just one reading saying that, oh, it's too high, I may have high blood pressure. The doctor may monitor you in such a way that you take it throughout the day and they'll take an average. So if the average is higher than 130 over 80, then it's likely that you are hypertensive.
My goodness, my goodness. I like that. That is a very good point. That's a very good point. So under one particular stressful situation, it may go up, but it may come down to the normal level. So it will take a few measurements. And even when you take it, it's advised that you take 3 of them and take the average. That way you will know that for sure. If you measure it 3 times and they are all 200, then of course you know that is bad. Or if you took it 3 times and they are all less than 120, then you know. If you took it 1 time and it is 120, it may be good, but if you repeat 3 times, then you know exactly that is the number. At least the average will give you what it's supposed to be. So you will be sure of what you have. And then also, you cannot stay home and diagnose yourself. You need to be diagnosed by a healthcare professional in a facility where they can guarantee that the measurements are accurate. We're going to be talking about ways to get hold of it and manage and monitor and all that. But diagnosis does not happen at home. You got to talk to a physician or a healthcare provider for your diagnosis to be done. And so that is what it's going to be like. And I don't know if there's anything else to add to.
Yeah, and I think the proper way of really following up with you being hypertensive or not hypertensive is to do your regular checkup. You have to go and do your annuals. Maybe you have a bits and pieces of, oh, last time I measured it was this, it was like that. You don't know. You have to really follow up with your regular checkup. then the doctor will have the ability to decide whether you have high blood pressure or not. Like we said, it's a silent killer. So sometimes you may not feel anything, you may not do anything, and it may be there creeping in. So you really have to take your annuals very seriously.
Very, very seriously. Very seriously. So that's a sample machine with a top number going up, and you see the bottom number also down. So the systolic is the top, and then the bottom will be the diastolic, as we have explained. So that is that for that what hypertension is. And now we're going to move forward and see what else we're going to talk about. So now we're going to be talking about the causes of hypertension or high blood pressure. And as you can tell, the first thing that we want to talk about is genetics and family history. Your genetics and your family history. Now, you want me to start? So, when we talk about genetics, as with most diseases, especially the one that we just finished talking about in season number 4, you know, the season number 4 was all about diabetes. Now we have started this season. And in diabetes, we said that if you inherit a gene from your parents or close relatives, then of course you become predisposed to the disease. And so that is the first thing. If you have a family that have hypertension, your parents, most likely your uncles, your mom, your siblings, if anybody in a closer blood relation has hypertension, then you could potentially assume that you have the genes for that. So that is what we mean by genetics. But then there's also the family, another thing called family history. So genetics and family history, slightly different. We're just talking about it. You want to talk about the family history a little bit?
Yeah, so the family history is just, I think you mentioned it. If your mom, your dad, your close relatives have hypertension, then it's likely that you do. But the gene may be that you may have a gene that is mutated, that is not able to process maybe salt, or the way that the arteries constrict or narrow. The gene that regulates that may be mutated or may not work as well. So if that happened, then you have the gene that it makes you prone to being hypertensive. So there are two kinds here. The gene may be that you carry the gene that is mutated because it's not able to process salt very well, or it's not able to constrict the arteries very well, or narrow or relax it to the point that the pressure have to move harder in order to pass through. In so doing, the pressure have to go up because your arteries are too constricted. Then it's likely that because of genes, because of genetic mutation, you may be prone to high blood pressure. But family history is like when the close relatives have hypertension, and because of that, you are likely to be hypertensive.
And yes, and I was actually talking about, remember that we also said that family history, you may not even have the genes in the family, but the history is there. And the history may have come as a result of your lifestyle in that family. If that family, all that family eat is salty food, chips all the time, you know, Frito-Lay, all the kinds of brands of chips that are very salty, potato chips, what kind of chips, plantain chips, every chip they're eating and it's salty. It's like every dinner table they gotta eat salt. I mean, because that's how you were all brought up. So salt becomes part of your diet, and it's so high that it predisposes you to hypertension. So, technically speaking, you may not even have the genes, but the history that is surrounding you. That's what we're talking about here. The history of your diet, the history of the fact that you are all inactive people, you are all eating these kinds of foods that predisposes you. That history is able to keep you or make you hypertensive or cause hypertension in you. So when we mention family history, it's not just the genes, it's the genes plus what the family does inside the family. Come on, man.
And also, like you're talking about the food and the salt content, the food is made in such a way that you add a lot of salt to the point that it does. Everybody is like, oh, it doesn't taste good. It doesn't. You have to add salt. So maybe you've learned your tongue has become so salty that if you eat and you don't taste salt, you feel like the food doesn't taste good. So you keep adding salt. So the diet is such that everybody is adding salt to their food. And you've learned to love salt to the point that the whole family, everybody enjoys salt, to the point that everybody is prone to be hypertensive because of the kind of diet that we all eat.
All right. And so, with that being said, let's move on to the next major cause of hypertension. And that one is the lifestyle and environment. Now, with the lifestyle and environment, a little bit of the family history, basically the culture of how you guys do your things at home, may also be applicable here as far as the environment is concerned. But this is a broad one, and we can go to some of them. We have mentioned diet already, lifestyle and diet, right? I mean, lifestyle includes the way you guys eat, the kinds of foods you enjoy. Very fatty meals can lead to hypertension. Very high potassium foods can lead to hypertension. Very enriched processed foods may lead to hypertension. Canned foods, processed foods include canned foods, right? A lot of preservation going on. All those things will increase your risk for getting hypertension. So all those are causes of hypertension that I would say lifestyle and also the environment. And then
And inactivity.
and physical inactivity. That's another one. My goodness. My goodness. That is a sad case.
So there is no sign of any exercise in the family at home. Nobody exercise. Nobody goes for a run. Nobody lifts weight. Everybody is sedentary.
Sedentary, yeah.
Sedentary. It's like there is no activity. The whole daily chore or activity in the house is basically TV, video games, and nobody is active. There is no point in time that anybody will step out to play basketball or anything like that or take a walk. Everybody is inside and everybody's lying down. Everybody is stand still. There is no activity. So if that happens, it's likely that the hypertension may creep in into the family.
My goodness, hypertension will creep in. So that is a serious thing, very serious thing. And the other thing that we can also talk about as far as environment and lifestyle is concerned is stress, unmanaged stress. This brother, you can see he's stressed at work, and stress manifests in several forms. It could be at home, it could be at work, it could be anywhere, but stress definitely is one thing that can also lead to hypertension. Stress can lead to hypertension. You have anything to add to that?
And also some people consume a lot of alcohol.
Alcohol because they are stressed, right?
Because you're stressed.
Oh, come on, man.
And if the intake of alcohol is so high, it's likely that you will get hypertension.
Hypertension from
And
stress.
also smokers.
And smoking.
If you smoke,
that's a good one.
If you smoke, your chance of getting high blood pressure is also really high.
Smoking will also lead you to hypertension. And all these have their scientific basis. When you smoke, you actually increase the plaques in your arteries, and the stiffness and the narrowing begin, and your blood vessels are always constricted. That is why smokers or people who smoke may have hypertension easily. So smoking will cause hypertension. And is there anything else we are missing?
I think
here?
that's all.
So for now, those are the three major areas that we can say under the environment and lifestyle that can cause hypertension. Your diet, your lack of exercise, as well as stress and alcohol and smoking. All those things put together can lead to hypertension, which we don't want. Now, you may not smoke. You may not be somebody who enjoys alcohol. You may even be exercising a little bit, and you may also be eating good food, and you still have high blood pressure. Come on, man. Maybe that is where the family history comes in right there. That's where the family history comes in right there. Or the genetics may come in. Or you may not be doing enough. And so don't say that, oh, I do all those things, but I still have it. It's possible. It's all right, bro. We can still do something about it. All right. So I think that ends up being the the second point that we wanted to do. Now, the third one, which we want to talk about, is your contributing health conditions. So we have said that genetics, we want to make sure you are keeping track. Your genetics and your family history can cause hypertension. And then we have talked about environmental and lifestyle situations, which we explained: diet, exercise, and stressors can lead to hypertension. The third one that we are talking about that cause hypertension is the contributing health conditions. So there are certain diseases or certain health conditions that if you have them, you are most likely going to get hypertensive. Why? Because the disease state you are in is already contributing to you becoming hypertensive or having high blood pressure. And so we'll start off with that. You have any? You want to start off with that? Or?
Yeah, so I think the first condition here we want to talk about is obesity.
Obesity, right there. I hope you already saw it on that video that is shown on our side. Obesity is there, yes.
So because you are heavy, because you have extra fat in you, extra body, it means that your heart have to pump harder in order to supply to all the cells. So we have about the same size of heart, and you have excess fat, excess body.
Excess weight, yeah.
Excess weight. So it means that your heart have to pump harder. So the more that it pump harder to all the cells, the pressure goes up. So that can be a contributing factor for getting hypertension.
That is very, very important. And then moreover, when you have obesity, chances are that you may be building plaques in your arteries also. And when plaques are formed in your arteries, remember our talk on cholesterol is going to narrow your arteries so that the tube where blood must flow are already being narrowed because of excess fat and excess cholesterol buildup. And for that reason, your heart is going to encounter resistance. Blood pressure is just resistance. It's going to encounter resistance trying to pump blood all the way to every cell in your body. So that is one easy way to get hypertensive if you are obese or if you have excess weight in you, including not just fat, but also excess body weight in general, because you have a lot of work for your heart to do. You are giving your heart extra work to do to what normally they should be doing. So that is one. And the next one, the next disease state that may predispose you to hypertension is our last show season that we talked about diabetes. My goodness. Diabetes is a bad one too. Diabetes is a bad disease state that can also predispose you to having high blood pressure or hypertension. And in my practice, I've seen almost every diabetic patient that I've seen on medications for diabetes. Almost, if I am not exaggerating, I would say about 98% of them also have medications to treat high blood pressure. They go hand in hand. Once your blood sugars become uncontrolled, or once you are diagnosed with high glucose levels, there's a chance that you're also going to have high blood pressure. They go hand in hand. So if you are diabetic, most likely you are having high blood pressure. Unless you are so controlled, you arrested the situation before it got worse, or you were just pre-diabetic and you got it reversed by some of the things we said in our previous shows, then of course you may not end up there. But if you have full-blown diabetes and you are treating it, I can almost guarantee that you will also have high blood pressure. So high blood pressure has been produced by the fact that you are diabetic. And the same explanation also explains, but there's a deeper explanation. If you permit me, should I go ahead and say?
Go ahead.
No, studies have actually shown that high sugar levels, sugar in your blood, excess blood glucose can be converted to what we call uric acid, in the process which eventually leads to high blood pressure. So you have the sugar in your cell that is as a result of diabetes, and that sugar is not just causing all the problems we talked about, but they are also leading indirectly to high blood pressure. So diabetes or high glucose amount, even if you're not diabetic, but you are consistently eating sugars, consistently sweet sugars, sugary diet, sugary alcohols, sugary drinks, sugary juices, everything sugar, most likely before you even get diabetes, you may get hypertension. Why? Because the sugar itself has its own way of increasing your blood pressure through the process of uric acid formation and the rest, which we can't get into right now in this video. So that is a second disease state that can predispose you to high blood pressure. I think
And
there's a
I
last
think
one.
with the diabetes, it forms the atherosclerosis, right?
That's
We
another way
mentioned
too.
it last time, the hardening of the cells of the arteries. So when it's hardened, it's likely that it's not relaxed enough for the blood to flow through easily. So your pressure have to increase in order to pass through the arteries, and that can lead to high blood pressure.
So that's two ways already, just through sugar consumption. Atherosclerosis, which is a buildup of plaques in your arteries, which we have spent months, about maybe if maybe about 6 months,
6 weeks.
more.
Oh yeah.
We did a whole series,
Cholesterol.
a whole season on cholesterol, atherosclerosis, and then also a whole series on diabetes, and they all come together. So diabetes come together also with that. So diabetes will lead to high cholesterol levels, and with high cholesterol levels comes to narrowing of your arteries and increased blood pressure, because now your heart has to pump harder, and then also hardening of the blood vessels as a result. All right, so the next disease state that cause or lead to hypertension is sleep apnea, interrupted sleep. If you have sleep that is not well managed sleep, you are also going to have hypertension, because during sleep apnea, if you have sleep apnea, there are occasions where you almost completely stop breathing, and then your pressure goes low, and then once you start breathing again, your pressure high goes way up, just to make sure that you are back to normal. And so the processes of low and high and all those things together, and of course the stress that comes with not having good sleep all the time, would increase cortisol release in the day. And as we remember, cortisol release will always lead to blood pressure increases, which we can go into details. Go back to our other videos and you can find, and hopefully you will subscribe so you know all these wonderful things that we have shared in the past. All right, so that seems to be all that we have concerning disease states that will cause high blood pressure. Again, obesity, diabetes, and sleep apnea. Those will do it. I mean, there's more, but for the sake of this show, we will end there, because we can say that atherosclerosis or high, cholesterol levels can lead to blood pressure because of what we have already explained. We can say that also. So those are the summary of what we want to talk about. Now let's move on to the next one. And the next thing we want to discuss on this show then is, why is high blood pressure a silent killer? That is the key to our show today. Why is it even a silent killer? Why is high blood pressure a silent killer? And I don't know if you want to start.
Yeah, I think you have it right there. Lack of symptoms.
Lack of symptoms. Come on, man. That's the first one.
Yeah, so if you don't feel well, you seek for help, right? You go to your doctor and tell your doctor, oh, my head hurts, or I don't feel well. This part of my body I'm not feeling well in that area. For high blood pressure, there is no symptoms. You don't feel anything. You can go about your daily activities without anything. Few people may have a lot of headaches. I hear that sometimes if the pressure goes too high, you feel headaches, or maybe you feel a little dizzy, or you don't feel fine overall. Then you'll be like, oh, maybe my blood pressure is up, or I forgot to take my medication, or something like that. But other than that, some people don't feel anything at all. They don't feel anything. And the complication that comes for consistently having your pressure stays high is very huge. So if you are ignorant of this, or if your doctor, you don't go to your annuals, you don't follow up, and you have no idea, it's going to take a very long time for you to realize that this pressure is really killing you, or is affecting your organs, because you don't feel anything, you're not doing anything about it, and it's creeping in and it's really killing you quietly. So definitely you have to pay attention by following up with your doctor.
Oh my goodness, my goodness. That is what's up. So feel very, I can almost guarantee that for those who are watching right now, if you have been diagnosed with hypertension, you probably don't have any symptom. The first time you were told that you had high blood pressure was because your doctor checked you. So most people, for the most part, do not have any clue that they have hypertension, lack of symptoms, and that is why we are saying it's a silent killer. The fact that you don't know doesn't mean that it should be easy on you. Oh, come on, man. The fact that you don't know that you got it doesn't mean it's going to wait for you to know before it punishes you. Yeah, it
At
can.
least you don't know.
Well, come on. It won't work like that for you. It's going to make sure that you die with it, And so the ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? So ignorance is no excuse. So many people don't know. And that is why hypertension or high blood pressure is a silent killer. That is one, lack of symptoms. I mean, a chance you are lucky you have headache, but how many people have headaches that are from something else? You may take a painkiller. Oh, as for me, I always get headache around this time. And which one of the headaches can you tell this is from blood pressure? You cannot. So even those who are dependent on that, that is a false pretense. You do not depend on, because medically there's no symptom for it. You got to know that you have it or you don't have it. You can't read your body and say that when my palm is white, it means I have my pressure is good. Come on, man, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. No. So definitely you need to be checked. That is the only way. So lack of symptoms is one reason why hypertension is a silent killer. Now, because of time, let's go on. The next one is gradual organ damage. That's what the next one is. Gradual organ damage. I'm trying to go there. Yes. Gradual organ damage. I think it's showing up. It's not showing on our screen. Yeah. And you want to start that? Yeah. So basically, as we have already established, if your blood pressure is up there, up the charts, and you have no way of knowing, it's, as we said, it's not waiting for you to know before it starts causing damage. It starts its work right as it goes up. And one of the things that make hypertension dangerous is not just the pressure being up, but the pressure going against your organs. And an example of which we are shown is your kidneys. Your kidneys are at the mercy of your blood pressure if it is high, because the heart has to pump blood there, but if the pressure going there is too high for it, it's just going to be crying for help there, but nobody hears it. And so gradually with time, you will be destroying your organs, one of which is your kidneys. Another one could be other things, your eyes. We're going to talk about other things, but at least the point we want to establish here is that if your pressure is high, the reason why it is a silent killer is slowly the high blood pressure that you have will be destroying your internal organs, starting from any organ that you can think of. You may not feel it, but it may be damaging the things that are important to your health and to your body. And when we go further, we'll tell you a story about people who found it the hard way because of gradual organ damage. You have anything to add to that?
Yeah, and the way that it's written here, like gradual, so it will get to the point that it's completely damaged, and maybe that will be the time that you are going to follow up with your doctor, and that may be too late. So when it's destroying it, you're not feeling anything because there is no symptoms, and your organ, the major organs in your body, is being destroyed without you knowing. So the gradual part is there, but when they hit it completely, that's the time that you may go to the hospital and they will tell you that, oh, your kidney is gone. One kidney is completely destroyed, and that may be too late.
And that's because of years of high blood pressure that you didn't know, that you thought it was nothing. Well, it was something eventually, and God forbid it happens to you. That's why we are here to share with you this information. If you are finding value, make sure you hit the like, you hit the share, and you hit the love. Come on, man. That is why we are here, so that other people will know and run away from such potentially dangerous diseases. All right. And the other thing that could happen is serious complications. I think we have alluded to it. If you're high, if you have blood pressure that is high and you do not know, the reason why it is a silent killer is that it can lead to serious complications. One of which is shown in our video here, that is heart attacks. You can have a heart attack. You can have other serious complications that you have not thought about. And with that, I'm going to wait for you if you have anything to add to that.
Okay, apart from the heart attack,
Yes.
it can lead you to getting stroke.
Strokes, right? Yeah.
Stroke. Because the pressure is so high, it's likely that it's going to break off a plaque, and that can travel to the arteries in your brain, and that can lead to stroke. It can also lead to another condition we call aneurysm, right? Because the first time I heard it, I'm like, what's that? And it is a killer. Either it paralyzes you or it kills you. Completely. Because that is the vessels in your brain is shattered off. The cells, the arteries breaks off, and blood may leak into your brain, and that can lead to aneurysm. I don't know whether I'm explaining it well, but it's happened in such a way that because you are not able to control your pressure, it affects the cells in your brain, and that can lead to this condition, which is very not healthy.
Oh, come on, man. That's a dangerous thing to have. Dangerous situations, yes. Uncontrolled high blood pressure that you don't know the reason why we're saying that high blood pressure that is high or hypertension is a dangerous but silent killer is that it can lead to all these dangerous diseases, heart attacks, strokes, aneurysms, and all the things that you can think of. Serious complications. Of course, you have mentioned kidney disease. As a matter of fact, it could even lead to blindness. I'm pretty sure we'll have our eye specialist to come and tell us what blood pressure can also do to your eyes. So there are a host of things that high blood pressure can lead to. And that is why we are saying that it is a silent killer. Hypertension is a silent killer. And so we don't want you to play with it and think that it is nothing. Well, you don't even know you have it because you haven't seen the doctor for a long time. But we are here to tell you that definitely it is something that can be very dangerous.
And it can also weaken your heart because
Heart failure right
it's
there, right?
working so hard to keep up with all the demands of your body. And it keep working harder and harder, and that can lead to heart failure.
Can lead to heart failure. Your heart will be failing. When we talk about heart failure, your heart becomes older than your age. So this heart right there can become the heart of a 20-something-year-old, but because of high blood pressure, it will be as the heart of a 60-year-old. And then you say that you need a heart transplant. You need this. You need to be this. All could have been prevented if you knew and controlled your high blood pressure. So it is a very dangerous disease, and we are hoping that you can take care of yourself and prevent these things from happening. So with that being said, I think we're going to spend the rest of the time. If you have any comments, make sure you bring your comments so that we will definitely share with the audience. If you have any questions, make sure you also pop it up in the comment section, and we will see it and share with our audience and answer them if it's something that will help other people. All right. So with that being said, I think the next thing that we're going to be talking about is why is high blood pressure a silent killer? We have already discussed that. The next thing is the monitoring. So we're going to talk about how to actually avoid the silence. that is about it, right? You can make sure that your blood pressure is making noise, or you can listen to it and make sure that if it's talking to you, you know it. And you can only do that if you go through monitoring. So that's how we're going to end the stream today. That what are some of the things we can do to ensure that though it's a silent killer, we can ensure that it's no more silent. If it's killing, we will know and we'll stop it right in its tracks. Right? So if you want to start that.
Yeah, so I think it's more just not just knowing the numbers. I will start by saying preventative measures. What are the things
preventative, right?
We don't we don't wait for it to hit us before we get worried or follow through and monitor and make sure it's in the normal range and all that. We have to prevent that from happening
In the first place.
in the first place before we even worry about controlling the numbers. So, what are the things that you can do to prevent that from happening? What are the things that you can stay away? What are the things that we wouldn't do or we should do to prevent that? So it's more like preventing it than controlling it or maintaining the level. So prevention, what are the things that you can do to prevent this quiet killer that affects most people in the world? The first thing I think we can stress enough is your diet.
Oh my goodness.
Is your diet.
Your diet. That is the first.
So as we all know, sodium is a huge thing that we have to pay attention to. If your diet it consists of a lot of sodium, a lot of salt, you feel like the way that you cook, you add extra salt to the point that it just you want it to be tasty. By end of the day, are you killing your family as a woman of the house? Are you really taking taste over health? So you have to prevent that thing from happening in order for you to control. So salt diet is a big thing. Stay away from salt. Stay away from processed foods. If you have the option to choose the fresh over the cans, because we know that they have to preserve the food in the can for it to stay longer. So if you have the option of choosing the fresh, the natural state of foods to feed your family with or to eat, you always go with the fresh fruits, the fresh vegetables, the fresh stuff instead of the processed one, because the processed one, your chance of having higher content of sodium is very high. So,
come on, man.
Yes.
That is huge. That is huge. High salt content will definitely increase the likelihood of getting high blood pressure. And I also add sugar. So salt and sugar, the things that make food sweet, right? And some people will be like, stop salt, stop sugar. What else can we eat
It
now?
doesn't taste.
It doesn't taste good. I can bet you that there are ways to prepare food. Have a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar. As for the sugar, I won't even take a little. If it's at all possible. But for salt, you can manage. Do a little bit. For some of the things you may not be able to stop them all abruptly. As a matter of fact, it may not even be healthy because we want you to have a sustainable change, sustainable lifestyle change that will lead to impactful, health outcomes. Not just boom, I stop this and then tomorrow you go back and you're doing it all over. That's not what you want. Gradual changes with intention. That is what is important. So start cutting them off, but be intentional about it, and then you will see results. So sugar and salt, I can't stress it enough, as Gifty has said. And of course, processed foods. Processed foods. If you can grow your garden, so much the better. But those of us who live in places where we cannot, you just have to try and ensure that when you go shopping for food, buy the ones that are not processed and store them in the fridge. They stay longer in the fridge, and avoid those canned foods and processed foods that have all these chemicals. Apart from salt and sugar, they have other things that we don't need, and all of them work to increase our blood pressure, and that is not what we want. And I think that is the other thing that I would also add is to also have, routine physical activity, routine exercises. If you do not exercise, this is the time to start exercising. No matter how busy you are, you have to plan to exercise. Whatever is important to you, you make time for. And so I can bet you that if exercising is important to you, you will make time for it. Oh, come on, man. I believe that. You will make time for it if it is important to you. But if it is something that you don't care about, then it will slide by. But if you really see your health as important, during diabetes episodes, we told you about the same things. Just if you like go back, the same things that work for diabetes will work for blood pressure, will work for any other cardiovascular disease state, to prevent you from getting stroke, to prevent you from getting a heart attack, prevent you from getting high cholesterol, prevent you from getting any of those diseases, heart attack that we are all mentioning at this time. As a matter of fact, that's what this channel is about, to help you overcome cardiovascular issues, stroke and heart attack. And so if you follow one of these things or these things for one disease, you are also protecting yourself from getting diabetes at the same time. And so watch it and make sure that you make those changes. So lifestyle changes, including diet and exercise. And then also, finally, unless you have something else, I would also add the regular monitoring that we have already said. If you don't see your doctors, if you watch this channel and you don't have any annual visit to your doctor, no matter how old, even children, they have to see your doctors at least once a year. You have to see your eye doctor at least once a year. You have to see your dentist at least once a year. Everything at least once a year. If you are not sick, that is where it's once a year. But if you have a disease condition, it may not be just once, because they may have to see you to follow up and make sure that things go well with you. And so if you see your doctor once a year, they check your blood pressure and tell you, oh, your pressure is creeping up. They may make an appointment for you, say, come back in 3 months and let's see how you do. But in the 3 months, make sure you do these lifestyle changes that Dr. Oteng's channel has been telling you. And then when you do those things and you go back, it may be down. You'll be like, oh, you are doing better. We're not going to put you on medication. Keep doing the things that Dr. Oteng's channel told you to do, and you should be all right. On the Life and Health Show, keep watching that show. It's helping out. It's helping out. And you may not take medications. But if it so be that it doesn't go down even after those lifestyle changes, then we'll put you on medication. And that is good. So make sure that you follow through with your doctors and ensure that you are checked, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your blood cholesterol. These 3 numbers, if you don't know, you don't love yourself. Come on, man. Yeah, that's what I would say. Especially you in your 30s, 40s, 50s. As for you, we don't even have to, I don't know what to say. You got to know your blood pressure, your blood glucose or blood sugar, and your blood cholesterol. And that will help you make the necessary changes and treat yourself if you have to, so that you don't get into any unnecessary cardiovascular issues such as heart disease and stroke.
And also, if the monitoring part, if the doctor put you on medication, you're watching your diet, you're exercising, you're doing everything fine, and we'll recommend that you have to buy the monitor if you are able, if you have access to it. You buy the monitor. It's so easy to know, to have an idea where you are. So monitoring, you can check every now and then how many times.
You could do twice or even once a day.
Yeah, and see how you're doing. If the doctor put you on medication and you come home and you keep checking and you feel like it's so high, it's consistently high, you have to let the doctor know. Sometimes one medication, I think we've said this before, right? One medication did not fix it. You don't want to be quiet because of the complications that will come if your blood pressure stay high for a long time. So you have to let your doctor know that I'm taking my medication as directed. Some people don't take their medication. In that case, you don't have a say here, but you have to consistently take the medication as directed. If you keep forgetting, you can set up an alarm, a reminder, so that you take it. So if you do it all and it's still too high, you just don't ignore it. You have to let the doctor know. Sometimes they may add a second medication, and you have to work hand in hand with your doctor so that you are able to control your blood pressure. And when you run out of your medication, you just don't ignore it and just don't do anything. You have to make sure that you get refills and you keep taking your medication. It's more like a maintenance drug. It does not heal it completely. So I know some people will come up with medication and say that, oh, this medication will take it away. It may take it away, but you need to follow up to monitor it to see whether it's really is being taken away, or it will come up if you stop taking your medication. So definitely you have to monitor to know where you are at every point in time.
At every point in time, you got to monitor. You need the monitoring. Without the monitoring, you will not know where you are. And I just posted our website also on there, still under construction. But if you want more articles and stuff, you could link up to our website, see, read some blogs about some of the things we're talking about, as well as even watch some of the videos. We're going to be able to link some of our videos directly on there so that you can do that. And that is Oteng.live. And we also have a merchandise store where you could also buy some stuff in this winter. We have some pretty nice stuff. I don't know if I have one to show you, but it's been pretty nice stuff that you could wear in this winter season.
Talking about
And
lifestyles, other stories, people stories.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So make sure that you do that. And then before we go though, I think there was another thing that we wanted to say. Let me see if I can go there right now, and then we will see definitely what it is that we wanted to show you again. And that is, we said that we are going to mention life stories about some people who had hypertension and what has happened to them. Some of them I mean talked to people who personally confided in me. Of course, I'm not going to give you the name, so I can say that these people told me that they are on dialysis because they did not control their blood pressures enough. This is somebody that did not have diabetes, so you wouldn't say that, oh, maybe their kidneys were bad because of their diabetes. No, these were otherwise healthy young people who have ended up being on dialysis. And the only reason is that they did not control their blood pressure. The blood pressure was high. They found out, all right, but they did not follow through with effective management of their blood pressure. So the hypertension has led to their kidneys being bad. Now they are waiting for transplant and they are on dialysis. And so it may sound like a joke when we hit the bells and stuff, but this is serious stuff we're talking here. And so if you have not checked yourself, if you don't know your situation, you probably don't even know whether you have high or low. Then, of course, you are living in denial, you are living in the dark, and you don't wait till something happens and then your back hurts so much and you go and they check you, do the blood work and say, oh, your kidney, because your pressure has been so high for years. Remember, we told you that there will be no symptoms. So if you are waiting for something to tell you that your pressure is hard to go, that thing will be a damage to your kidney, a damage to your eyes, a damage to some other part of your body, your brain, a stroke, a heart attack. That is where they will find it. But would you wait for that thing to happen before they find it? Come on, man. I believe that if you are watching this, you won't do that. I believe you won't do that. And so definitely make sure that you monitor and check because it may be the only way that you save yourself from any such thing. Do you have any
Yeah,
other?
and they were not even obese, right?
No, they were not
And the
obese.
scary thing is like both of them, like they are couple, and both of them is suffering from this kidney disease. So it's very serious. And I was thinking that maybe they took medication that may had destroyed their kidneys, though.
No, they did not. They told me. They told me that this situation came about because of high blood pressure. That's it, hypertension, not controlled. And so if you're watching, it's not a joke. We want to encourage you, make sure that you find out your state. What is your pressure? What is your blood pressure at the moment? And if it is bad, all is not lost. At least you found out before it got worse. You found out before you lost your kidneys. You found out before you lost your eyesight. You found out before something bad, brain injury, an aneurysm happened. And we know somebody also who had an aneurysm. Yeah, serious aneurysm. And it's a fact. Change completely that person's life. In fact, some people just die right there. But this person that we know did not die, and yet her life now this person depends on another person for their daily living. Do you want to go to the extent before you check yourself in? I believe not. And so let's know and let's treat. If taking medications, take them as directed. If it's bothering you, that's why we are here. Ask questions in the comments. We're pharmacists. If not, ask your doctors wherever you are and wherever they are, and they will be able to fix it. People have excuses. We're going to go into that. Blood pressure medications and the excuses that people don't take. In this series, season 5, we're going to touch on all those. So make sure that you stick to it stick to our shows every Sunday evening Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll come until about 10 or 11 episodes are done. And as we said, we are going to invite one person that I've already hinted. I just have to confirm the date. And then we will be live with that person, a medical doctor, who will also explain how bad hypertension is. And so that is what it is. Now, with that being said, we want to say, we want to say that, beloved,
we wish above all things that you prosper
and be
in
in
health,
health, even
even as your soul prospers.